So friends, in yesterday's lecture we have studied one of the radio frequency oscillator, and that is Hartley oscillator. Today we are going to study another type of radio frequency oscillator, and that is known as Colpitts oscillator. Colpitts oscillator is same as that of Hartley oscillator. That means it also generates a frequency in a radio frequency range, that is about 20 kilohertz. It also generates a sinusoidal wave. That's why it is a sine wave oscillator. It also makes use of inductance and capacitor in a tank circuit. So that's why it is called as LC oscillator. Colpitts oscillator and Hartley oscillator are almost all same, only with the difference in tank circuit. Doesn't matter. Both uses inductance capacitor in tank circuit. So what is the difference? Difference is that in Hartley oscillator, tapping is done for inductor, but in Colpitts oscillator, tapping is done at center of the two capacitor. Friends, look to this particular tank circuit being adapted in Colpitts oscillator. Here is a tapping. C1 and C2, in between that there is a tapping of ground. In Hartley oscillator, the tapping is between L1 and L2. That is the difference. With that difference, Colpitts and Hartley oscillators are same. Accordingly, we can now going to study the construction of Colpitts oscillator. From the point of view of construction of Colpitts oscillator, we can say it consists of a transistor in common emitter configuration whose operating point is adjusted exactly on the center of the load line in the active region by providing it to necessary bias current with the help of voltage divider arrangement formed by resistance R1 and R2. This means that here biasing method used is of resistor divider biasing method or voltage divider biasing method, which is formed by R1 and R2. The voltage across R2, that is R2 upon R1 plus R2 into applied voltage VCC, is provided to base of transistor Q. It will allow necessary amount of base current which will make collector current to flow through the collector resistance or load resistance RC. Friends, here RC equal to RL, that is equal to RFC, that is radio frequency choke coil. It is going to act as a load on the collector of the Colpitts oscillator. Here, emitter resistance connected between emitter and ground, it is going to act as emitter self-bias resistor. It provides self-biasing to the BZT. In this case, emitter bypass capacitor C does the role of bypassing AC component to the ground. Capacitor CI is going to act as input coupling capacitor that couples oscillation generated in the tank circuit to the input of BZT through the feedback path represented here. Similarly, CO is the output coupling capacitor that couples output of amplifier circuit to the tank circuit. The tank circuit is formed by C1, C2 in parallel with inductance L. The tapping is done between C1 and C2 at the center, which is grounded. Here, if radio frequency choke coil is connected as a load, its role is to protect the BZT from short circuiting current, and it doesn't allow high frequency current to pass through it. So that's why in the field of communication, this RC is replaced by radio frequency choke coil. Friends, this is what the construction of Colpitts oscillator. Now let us see its working. Colpitts oscillator generates the oscillations in a tank circuit formed by capacitor C1, C2 and inductance L. These generated oscillations are given back to the input of the amplifier, which are amplified by the amplifier, and these are made available at the collector, which one can visualize on CRO. One can measure the frequency also on the CRO. Dear students, when VCC is provided to this Colpitts oscillator, this will allow base voltage equal to R2 upon R1 plus R2 into VCC by allowing base current to pass through it. This small change in base current produces large change in collector current that will flow through the load resistance or collector resistance RC. Biasing self-biasing through RE and capacitor CO couples this current to pass through the tank circuit. When this current passes through the tank circuit, the capacitor C1 and C2 will start charging by storing the static charges across C1 and C2 in such a way that positive charges on the upper plate of capacitor C1 and negative charges to the lower plate of capacitor C2. This process will continue till both the capacitors C1 and C2 are fully charged. When these two capacitors are fully charged, negative plate is connected via feedback path to the base of transistor. As being transistor is NPN type, the negative voltage, negative charges are provided to the input, emitter base junction is reverse biased and the transistor will be turned off. When transistor is turned off, naturally the charged capacitors C1 and C2 will start discharging, and the discharging current will start flowing through inductance L, which is connected across them. This will start bringing the magnetic flux across the inductance L till the steady state of magnetization is reached. When capacitor completely discharges, no charges are going to left on C1 and C2, whereas magnetic flux is totally built across the inductance L. Thus, electrostatic charges are going to be converted into electromagnetic field now. When this happens, when steady state of magnetization is reached, the magnetic flux starts collapsing, and this will allow current to flow through C1 and C2 in opposite direction, which will start charging the capacitor in opposite direction, so that upper plate of capacitor C1 becomes negatively charged and lower plate of capacitor becomes positively charged. It is connected to the base of transistor. Again, emitter base junction is forward biased and transistor is turned on, allowing collector current to pass through the load resistance, which will be again coupled back to the tank circuit. In this case, magnetic field is going to be converted into the electrostatic charges. Once again, when capacitors are fully charged, it will start collapsing. When it will start collapsing, the polarity of the capacitor, the current flowing through the inductor, are reversed as the direction of magnetic field also reverses. At the cost of that, again transistor is going to be turned off. This process of charging and discharging action of capacitor and building and collapsing of the magnetic field across inductance cell will generate the oscillations in the tank circuit. These sinusoidal oscillations generated in a tank circuit is feedback through the feedback path to the input of amplifier, which is amplified, and these oscillations are get produced at the output through the collector terminal. Friends, when impedance of this tank circuit becomes equal to 0, means impedance is nothing but the sum of reactance of inductance and sum of reactance of capacitors. That is called as the impedance of this particular LC tank circuit. If that becomes equal to 0, then in a tank circuit, the resonance occurs and the maximum frequency is generated in this particular oscillator. Frequency generated is totally going to depend upon the value of capacitor C1 and C2 and inductance cell which we have connected in the tank circuit. That's why inductance and capacitance are called as frequency deciding components. Student friends, as BJT is used in common emitter configuration, it produces the phase shift between input and output by 180 degree. The tank circuit formed by C1, C2 and inductance cell, this will produces the phase shift of 180 degree. This 180 degree phase shift plus 180 degree phase shift produced by the BJT in common emitter configuration, either both are added or subtracted so that net phase shift between input and output of entire oscillatory circuit is either 360 degree or 0 degree. And we are well aware that when the phase shift of entire circuit becomes equal to either 0 degree or 360 degree, naturally a positive feedback is established, and which is one of the essential condition of Barkhausen criteria, which is going to be satisfied in Colpitts oscillator also. Friends, this is how the oscillations are sustained and Colpitts oscillator made to oscillate to generate the sinusoidal waves in a radio frequency range. Friends, let me proceed to calculate the formula for frequency of Colpitts oscillator, and let me decide another condition of Barkhausen criteria, how it is going to be satisfied to sustain the oscillations in a tank circuit, which we are going to see in the next slide. As I already said that to occur resonance in a tank circuit, the total impedance of LC tank circuit should be 0. And the impedance of tank circuit in the Colpitts oscillator is now given as Z is equal to impedance of inductance, that is J omega L, plus impedance of capacitor C1, that is 1 upon J omega C1, plus impedance of second capacitor, that is 1 upon J omega C2. Now let us simplify that. During simplification, let me take J omega common from this equation. So by taking J omega common, we can get J omega into bracket L minus 1 upon omega square C1 minus 1 upon omega square C2. Which one can write it? J omega into bracket L minus 1 upon omega square, I will take it as a common, into bracket I can write it 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2. Friends, this impedance generated at resonating condition to get the maximum frequency, its value becomes equal to 0. So that's why L minus 1 upon omega square into bracket 1 plus C1 plus 1 plus C2, that's equal to 0. But transferring this term to the right side, I can write it L is equal to 1 upon omega square into bracket 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2, which one can write it as 1 upon omega square. By taking LCM, I can write it C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. Therefore, 1 upon omega square is equal to L into C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. Omega square now equal to reciprocal of this, that is 1 upon L into C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. Therefore, omega is equal to, taking square root on both sides, omega is equal to 1 upon square root of L C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. But we are aware that omega is equal to 2 pi f, put it there. So 2 pi f equal to 1 upon square root of L into bracket C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. Therefore, f is equal to 1 upon twice pi under root of L into bracket C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. Which one can write it? F is equal to 1 upon twice pi root of LC, where C is C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. Friends, this is the equation that represents the frequency of Hartley oscillator. That clearly indicates that frequency is going to depend upon inductance and capacitor, that is C1 C2 and inductance L. That's why inductance and C1 L and C1 C2 used in tank circuit are going to act as a frequency deciding components. This equation gives the frequency of Colpitts oscillator. To get the oscillations, the condition KAV should be greater than or equal to 1, which is the second condition of the Barkhausen criteria. First condition is already satisfied, that phase difference between output and input is either 360 degree or 0 degree, so as to get the positive feedback, and that is already satisfied. We have studied it just now. After achieving the positive feedback, second condition is that KAV should be greater than or equal to 1. When this is done, then and then only oscillations are going to be sustained. And to achieve this condition, in Colpitts oscillator, the current gain of transistor HFE should be made equal to C2 upon C1. If the ratio of C2 and C2 upon C1 is equal to the current gain of BJT, then KAV should be greater than or equal to 1. This will satisfy the second condition of Barkhausen criteria. Thus, both the conditions of Barkhausen criteria are satisfied, and at the cost of that, the oscillations are sustained in a tank circuit. These sustained oscillations are amplified by the common emitter amplifier circuit, and oscillations are made available at the collector terminal, which can be used for different applications, because Colpitts oscillator is again a radio frequency oscillator. The Hartley oscillator, Colpitts oscillators are widely used in the electronic communication system, in transmitter to generate the carrier wave, and also in receiver to act them as a local oscillator. Friends, this is what you have to remember about one of the LC oscillator known as Colpitts oscillator. Next time we are going to study one more type of oscillator.